We have another one of our sector spotlights. We're going to be hearing from Martha Swanson from the New Zealand Food Network. Let's welcome Martha to the stage.
Just a little thing, I'm not Martha. I'm not quite sure how Martha got up there. I'm Sophie, I'm the National Partnerships Manager, but Martha's our Communications Manager, and she does a great job too. So I need the dibber, there we go. Is there a prezzo? Is there a presentation? I've got lightning bolt for Franco on my screen. Franco's story was great. I loved it. Let's give them a moment to find it. How you going? You could do a dance. Very good. Lovely day here in Wellington. Martha sent the presentation.
We can move this to later in the day if we need to, if they haven't got it. What would you prefer? Would you rather chat now or wait for the slides?
Probably good to have the slides,
okay.
If that's all right with. Was it there?
One minute.
Well, I could sing a song. Shall I sing a song? No, I won't do that. You wouldn't like that. I will say thank you for the opportunity to be here and talk to everyone again. We were here last year, and if you were here last year, or if you were at the Apples and Pears conference last week, I am afraid it is me again. So I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry, because first of all, we all know that a message needs to be heard more than once, a few times, before it's actually really heard or acted on. Oh, it's up. There we go. Second, thank you very much, team over there. Second, because we know there are still huge amounts of surplus food and produce that doesn't make it to donation because people don't know enough about us or how simple and cost-free we can make the process. And thirdly, because importantly, in this current climate, there are far too many New Zealanders struggling to put food on their table. So I am here, again, unapologetically, because we need the message to be heard. Now let me put that. So for those of you who don't know, New Zealand Food Network, we take donated bulk volumes of surplus food that has no commercial value, and we get it out to communities and families in need. We were established 6 years ago, actually 6 years ago this week, so happy birthday to us. And that was right at the start of COVID, and at that time, the number of people seeking food support through the hubs that we send to was going up, and it reached record levels that we thought were really scary. But the frightening thing is that COVID came and went, and the number of people unable to make ends meet has just continued to climb, and it hasn't stopped. The data in this area, are you moving on from me? No, we're really, there we go. Data in this area has been very limited to date, so we commissioned some research into the levels of food security in New Zealand. It's called the Hunger Monitor 2025. It's available on our website if you wanted more detail. So Ian, it is complete, timely and accurate, we believe. But there is a lot of information on the report. I only have time to share one statistic with you, and it is quite confronting. I think the battery's, there we go. I'll keep it in my hand. 1 in 3 households in New Zealand is experiencing some form of food insecurity last year. So experiencing food insecurity doesn't mean people are out there starving, but it's a continuum. And so it starts with people compromising on the quality and the quantity of food they're buying. It moves on to parents skipping the odd meal because they want their kids to be able to eat. And it moves right through to whole families skipping many meals a day because there just isn't enough money to buy food with once all the bills have been paid. And food is generally the only bill that bends. So this is real people real families, and 1 in 3 means that some of those are your colleagues, your staff, your neighbors. And they're often working, families with 2 working parents, often working more than 1 job to try to make ends meet. But they're coming home to empty cupboards, empty fridge, and nothing to put on the table. And so again, this is why I'm here, trying to get the message heard. I've got 2 asks today. The first is to ask you to really think about the surplus product that you might see in your day-to-day business. So this is anything that's edible but has no commercial value. So it might be actually headed for the animals or compost. And so I just want you to think about whether any of this food could be donated, if it isn't being already. Because what seems like a very small volume of food, a pallet, a bin of produce that might be going out, it might seem like a very small amount compared to the amounts that go through your business every day. But to the family that can actually put dinner on the table that night because of that donation, it has a huge impact. Just to illustrate the impact that the donations can have, I'd like to read a thank you email from a volunteer at one of our hubs in Rotorua. So she's describing the work what she sees in her work. I volunteer at Feeding Rotorua. My job is taking the food out to families who can't get to us. There are many people in our area living in substandard housing because of the cost of living. There are also many homes in our area struggling to buy food. Food costs have gone up so much, so most families tend to just go without. When dropping off the food, we have found some homes had nothing or were existing on 1 meal a day. We see the faces of Tamariki burst into smiles, happy smiles, and parents break down with tears of relief when they receive the food you donate. It makes a huge difference. So that's why I'm here, because we think this shouldn't be the case in New Zealand, where we produce so much food is still wasted, and yet there are families facing this, dealing with this day after day. So the map here shows our 64 food hubs, 49 on the North Island, 15 on the South, and any food that is donated into New Zealand Food Network gets distributed out to these hubs, and from there it gets sent out through our network to over 2,000 community organisations. On the right you can see just some of the organisations that we work with. You know them, we love them, and they're all fabulous places doing amazing mahi in their own community, and they're the ones getting the food into the hands of the people that need it. And these organisations often take locally donations, but they can't take the big volumes like 62 bins of carrots at one time, or 150 tonnes of kiwi fruit or tomatoes across a season, or the 70 pallets of mushrooms that needed to be moved today. These are the volumes that we take care of. And over the past 6 years, we have moved over 40,000, oh, I've got to get numbers right, 40,000 tonnes, sorry, of food, into food and surplus product into these communities. 30% of that, it's fantastic that consistently 30% of that is produce, and that is because of many of the growers here at this conference, and we thank them very much. But because produce is so important to our hubs, it's one of the top 3 categories of food always requested, which is protein, dairy, and produce. And because it's so important, we are always looking for more, and we're always doing what we can to make it easy for our growers to donate to us. And the way that we do that is there are 3 ways. All you need to do is let us know you have some produce that can be donated. We can either organise a pickup. Our very good friends at T&G and our founding donors will also pick up your surplus when they're picking up some stuff for market. Or if we have to, or if it makes sense, we'll organise a local hub to come and pick it up. We just need to know it's there, and we'll organise to get it away from you. Some people do worry about the fact they're going to lose their bins or their crates, which is very understandable. We have de-hire accounts. We'll swap them out, or we'll send our own to pick them up in. And just to finish, the second thing I wanted to ask you to think about is not only the surplus that you might have in your business, but the surplus that your neighbours in the surrounding farms may have. And it brings me to what we fondly refer to as our puki loop. And our pukikawi loop started because we were getting donations from a couple of growers down in that region, but it was a 2 or 3 hour trip every time we went, so we needed to make it more efficient. We talked to our friends at Mercer Mushrooms. They said, oh, we know some people who would have some surplus. And after a couple of introductions and a bit of work over the next few years, few months, sorry, we've ended up with 8 growers in the region who we will loop around to and pick up once or twice a week when they've got stock. And just since 2024, those small number of growers have given us, more than 1.2 million kilograms. That's 15.5 servings of fresh produce for the families that need it. And I can guarantee that it's made an impact where it's ended up. So really, to finish, I just wanted you to think about 2 things: the surplus going through your business, and could the region that you're in be our 2nd or 3rd growers loop? And if it could, please reach out to us. We're on the stand, or my details are there. Thank you very much for your time.